Greetings, mortals. Welcome to another episode of Tapes of the Lost. How wonderful, the inquisitive souls return, ever eager to delve into the abyss of forgotten horrors. Tonight, we journey back to the year 1950, to the small southern town of Paradis, Louisiana, where an unseen man tormented a young woman with eerie melodies and sinister threats. But before we delve into this chilling tale, let us first explore the shadowed history and haunting folklore of this enigmatic region. Prepare yourselves for the unsettling saga of the Phantom Whistler.
Nestled within the heart of St. Charles Parish lies the unassuming town of Paradis, Louisiana. At first glance, Paradis appears as a typical southern enclave, but beneath its tranquil surface flows a rich tapestry of history and folklore that has shaped its identity. The town's origins trace back to the early 18th century, when German settlers, escaping the ravages of the 30 Years' War, established communities along the Mississippi River's fertile banks. This area became known as the German Coast, a testament to its settlers' heritage. But long before European settlers arrived, the region was inhabited by indigenous peoples who left behind remnants of their ancient civilizations. Archaeological sites, such as the Sims site near Paradis, reveal complex societies that thrived here centuries ago. These early inhabitants constructed earthen mounds and engaged in intricate trade networks, leaving behind artifacts that whisper tales of a bygone era. Yet, Louisiana's lands have always been cloaked in mystery. The bayous surrounding Paradis have long been a breeding ground for legends, and some say, dark entities. One of the most infamous is the legend of the rougarou, a shape-shifting beast said to prowl the wetlands under the cloak of darkness. Some claim it is a cursed man, doomed to hunt endlessly under the full moon. Others whisper that it is a demon, born of the swamp itself. Another spectral entity feared by the locals is the Latiche, the spirit of an unbaptized child, doomed to wander the waters of Louisiana for eternity. According to legend, the Latiche lurks in the swamps, upsetting boats, whispering in the night, and dragging lost souls beneath the murky depths. With such a backdrop of superstition and fear, is it any surprise that something unnatural began to stalk the people of Paradis in 1950? In early 1950, an 18-year-old woman named Jacqueline Caddo began hearing something strange outside her bedroom window at night. At first, it was just a whistle, a simple, melodic wolf whistle, as if someone were calling to her from the darkness. But as the nights passed, the whistling changed. It was no longer playful. It had become slow, deliberate, mournful. A funeral dirge, and then the whispering began. Jacqueline wasn't alone. Some nights, low moans drifted through the humid Louisiana air, sounds that no human throat should have been able to make. Then came the phone calls. "Do not marry Herbert Belsom," the voice warned, its tone cold and emotionless, "or I will stick a knife in you." Her fiancé, state trooper Herbert Belsom, was determined to catch the stalker, but despite his efforts, the whistling continued, always late at night, always just out of sight. Even neighbors reported hearing it, yet no one ever saw the whistler, and no one could explain how he always disappeared without a trace. Word spread quickly, and Paradis descended into a state of paranoia. Doors were locked. Shotguns were kept by bedsides. Authorities were bombarded with reports from townspeople, claiming they too had heard the eerie whistle, yet no footprints were ever found. Some claimed it was a spirit. Some believed it was the rougarou, and others feared it was something worse. As the weeks passed, Jacqueline's nerves began to fray. The whistling never stopped. It followed her everywhere. Even the local sheriff, skeptical at first, eventually stayed up all night outside Jacqueline's house in an attempt to catch the perpetrator. But that night, there was nothing. And yet, the very next evening, the whistling returned. The Phantom Whistler was toying with them. Despite the fear and the threats, Jacqueline refused to be intimidated. The wedding was set, and she and Herbert went through with their plans. On the morning of the ceremony, the church was filled with an eerie sense of unease. As Jacqueline walked down the aisle, it happened. A sharp, piercing whistle echoed through the church, stopping everyone in their tracks. A moment of silence followed, but nothing happened. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the whistling stopped. The ceremony continued. Jacqueline and Herbert exchanged vows, and they were married. And after that day, the Phantom Whistler was never heard from again. In the aftermath, theories flooded the town. Was it a jealous former lover? Was it a prank that went too far? Or was it something else? Some believed the entity was a spirit, a lost soul, trapped between worlds. Others insist the stalker was human, someone with a supernatural ability to evade detection. But no suspect was ever caught. No footprints were ever found, and no one has ever confessed. To this day, the Phantom Whistler remains an enigma, one of the most unsettling, unsolved mysteries in American history.
Ah, the Phantom Whistler, a melody of menace that danced through the night, leaving a trail of fear in its wake. Was it a man driven by jealousy, a specter from the beyond, or simply the manifestation of a community's collective dread? Perhaps we'll never know. But remember, dear mortals, the world is full of shadows, and some mysteries are best left unsolved. Until next time, keep your ears open and your fears closer. This is your host, Luther, and remember, for in the darkness, the line between reality and nightmare blurs.